them back. I think what I'm giving them back, man, is what they've been waiting for. You know what I mean? Skills. What? Yo, just what they seem to say. What are you giving them back? I think what I'm giving them back, man, is what they've been waiting for. You know what I mean? Skills. What? Yo, just the thing seem to change. It all seems plain. I'm able to unexplain what it. Bless up, bless up, bless up. Once again, it's another episode of the. Well, actually, no, this is the Ring 10 experience. This is not the Troy Graham experience. This is the Ring 10 show on the Troy Graham experience. That's my mistake. I got to get these intros right. So this is Wednesday, last Wednesday of the month, Ring 10 show. You know, we have a great panel. We're going to discuss the importance of having a union and a national commission and how that will benefit boxing and help the boxers as well. And on the panel today, we have the man who is the founder and gave birth to Ring 10, Matt Farrago. Tell me I'm correct with that.
That's great.
Huh?
Great.
Hallelujah. and
Perfect.
and Tyrone the legend Butcher Jackson.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about because he chopped meat. The man was nice with his hands. He was not. And we got Brandon. Is it Coty?
Brandon County here, Troy. Hello, everybody.
County. And he's going to introduce himself. I know he's a manager extraordinaire and a man who wears many hats. So Matt, I'm going to ask you to start off the show like you usually do. Explain why we need a union and a national commission where everybody's on the same page. You have a thing that you always say at the start of every show. Go ahead and start us off there, Matt.
I don't know if this is, but when it comes to boxing, I always say to somebody, is baseball a union? MLB. Is football a union? And it's NFL. Is basketball a union? It's NBA. Is golf a union? It's PGA. Is tennis a union? Yes. Are all these sports union? Yes. Is boxing a union? And everybody's, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know. No, it's not. And that's my fight. That's my place on earth, is to eventually unionize the sport of boxing so there's an investment, there's a return on investment, an ROI to the fighters who make the money, who risk their lives every time they get in the ring. And there's some kind of a union and health benefit plan. Right now, a fighter fights. If he gets hurt, fix him at the fight, point them to out the door. Leave. Don't call me until you're ready to fight again. That's not appropriate. Not in 2022. It's not. I can't hear you.
I'm
Troy.
sorry.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Yeah. Usually I would go to Tyrone right now, but I want Brandon to come on, and introduce himself because of
okay.
what he does in the business, and then you could speak on how that would benefit your business having a union, Brandon, and having a national commission. So go ahead, Brandon, and can you all go on mute while he's speaking, please?
Okay.
Well, yeah. Well, the thing is, I'm a boxing manager. I'm here in Houston, Texas. If I'm not managing, I'm trying to do some freelance matchmaking. Um, I do kind of some freelance advising. A lot of fighters, they don't want to hire a manager or an agent full time, so I'll kind of consult with them, help them work out some deals, everything like that. So I'm kind of usually always busy and always annoyed and grumpy because of boxing. Um, but I think the the benefit, I think, to having a union, and I worked 6 years at UPS in management, and UPS hourly employees are a union. The one thing I think that it would benefit is it would keep everybody fair. It would Nobody could be completely just screwed over by the politics of it. It would allow them to say, look, there's nothing wrong with making a certain type of fight, but union rules say that this is what I should be paid, or these are the processes that we go when it comes to organizing the fight. You know, I had a guy that unfortunately um, listened to the wrong people, and he took a fight. He gets there, and the promoter tells him, and the promoter basically bullies him and tells him that, look, we're not going to do it at 140, it's at 147. And if you don't take it, the commission's going to suspend you. You know, guys, you know, he's young, he doesn't know what's going on. So he takes it at 147. Then they tell him that the person's going to be from 1,200 to 900 for a 4-round fight. So he's like, oh, well, you know what? I want to get paid. I done came this far. He takes the fight, you know, he loses it, and then he doesn't even get paid. The check he's given bounces. So I had to help him file a thing with the commission to, you know, anybody. I don't know if you guys have ever boxed professionally or managed or anything, but you know, it's a hassle to get the few dollars the fighters need and things like this. And I think having a union would protect them from the abuse and from the bullying that a lot of I don't want to say a lot of promoters, but you know, the unscrupulous people subject these fighters to.
Thank you, Brandon. Now, Tyrone, I want to piggyback off that. He asked if anybody ever boxed, and you were a boxer. Tell us about your experiences, and if there was a commission, you know, and a union around that would have how how that would have helped you at the time.
Well, being that if it would have been a union, it definitely would have been big, and it would definitely would have helped a lot of fighters. To go off which the guy Brandon just said, this bring back like some sad moments, especially in my boxing career. Me and Matt was talking about that today, and it's funny that the guy says what he just says. I wasn't bullied, but I was sort of like tricked when I fought my first world title fight. I fought in Korea. I was supposed to get 50,000, no, 75,000. I ended up with $328 when I got back to New York. That was 2 days after, we landed in New York. Went there with a fractured hand, knew I had a fractured hand, but didn't say anything. Still thought I should have beat the guy because the guy really wasn't that good, but I should have beat him. So I guess my manager at the time figured well, that's it for Tyrone. So I'm gonna take all the money. And like I said, he only gave me $328 out of that 75,000. Now, could the union would have helped us?
Yeah.
I want to say yes, and I don't want to say no because I'm a part of the union myself, and I've been around a little bit of delegates. I've been in the union since '91, and the union that I'm a part of, what I works at, it's not what I really thought it was when I was fighting in the beginning. Up until the present time right now, we have problems with the managers and the owners always telling us, we don't care about your union. Go tell your union. We don't care. Now, when I'm with the union and we sitting down, the union they tell us like, yeah, they can't do that. Yeah, they can't do this. But every time they get in front of the manager, oh yeah, they can do that. Oh yeah, they can do that. Yeah, this is their building. They can. I said, wait a minute. We had a rally the other day where you was telling us that they can't do this and they can't do that. So I'm a little iffy on the union thing. It's the sad thing about anything in entertainment is about money. And the money goes to the person with the power. They don't care. They don't even care about the union. We got union delegates and union presidents that we used to vote them in. Now they appoint their own self as president, vice president, and stuff like that. And
hold it right there for a second, Tyrone.
We gets weaker and weaker.
Hey, Tyrone, how do you appoint your own self in? Who actually gives them that authority and that power to just do that?
I don't know, but go check out SEIU 32BJ, and you'll see we had no election, we had no nothing, and it's, the sad part is, this is the scary point. The new people that's coming in always get low wages. When I first started, we always got what everybody else got. So if I came in making $30 an hour, I mean, if I came in when they was making $30, I got $30 an hour. Now all of a sudden they push everything back. So it's like you got to make your bones. You come in at 22, you move up every 3 or 4 contracts. It might take you 10 years to get to 30,000. I mean, get $30 an hour. So the union thing is not as what people think it is. Now, me personally, I don't think it's ever going to be a boxing union because we independent contractors and everybody wants to do what they want to do on their own. You got fighters that stiff trained managers. You got fighters that a lot of promoters. Okay, he said the guy bullied the guy into going to 147 from 140. How can you do that when the contract says 140?
Yeah, don't mean
I'm going to fight a guy that adds on 7 pounds more.
Contract doesn't mean anything. Not till it's the New York State Commission. It could change at any point.
I was going to ask you to hold on a second,
but
Matt.
I'm coming in at 140 and the other guy coming in at 147.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't get it.
Well, the thing is, and I'm sorry I had to hop off. I lost my sound, and it got to sound weird. And I also have a 2-year-old here with me. So if you hear a baby in the background, that's a 2-year-old. But, you know, the thing with the union, would it be perfect? By no means would it be perfect. It would not be. It would not fix every problem that fighters would have, and it would cause them and say, look, you guys also have to be responsible, and you also have to meet certain demands and certain responsibilities. Now, the thing with that is that kind of like what you were saying, Tyrone. Yeah, there are some things that it would tell fighters they can't do, and they would have to respect that. But I think when you look at, you know, the situation with this guy, that's not new. That happens all too much where a fighter is told something and then they get there and it changed up. Like, you know, I'm sorry. I think you're on mute.
I'm disagreeing with you. I'm disagreeing with you, man. Go ahead.
What? Oh, well, what do you disagree about?
No, agreeing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I'm sorry. So a union wouldn't fix every problem, but I would like to see fighters have more recourse because this fight happened in end of November, and this is going to be February, and you know the commission still hasn't given him his money because you end up having states where the promoter doesn't have the surety bond, so that when these things happen, they can file an surety bond and gets paid. I don't know how active you guys are in boxing, but there's some promoters that they'll pop up and they'll disappear the next day. So it's like you have to hunt them down to find them and stuff. And you know, and you realize you talk about guys who are putting their health on the line and putting money in your pocket. So there should be something that protects them better.
Can I ask you one question? What was
yes,
it?
Sir.
Was it a big venue or was it like, you know, like some little place that they was renting out?
It was a decent sized venue. It was in Tennessee. It wasn't super small. It was I think it was 1,200 seats. I think. Don't quote me on it. I wasn't there, but I do know I'm familiar with who the promoter is, and you know he has a record of doing this kind of stuff to people who don't have. If you don't have a manager, or they know you don't really know what you're doing, they do this. They would do that to you.
Now, let me throw this question out there to everybody. There are a couple of arenas and so forth that basically you get paid a certain percentage based on the amount of people that come out and the amount of tickets you sell. Yeah, you know, wouldn't that be better than, you know, going through these shiesty promoters, you know, for the boxers?
So call them and ask them.
Well, here's the thing with that. You can sell tickets and you can say, look, let me sell tickets and let me get paid that way. You can absolutely do that. The thing with that is that if you're the traveling fighter, like say for example, I'm in Texas, you're in Maryland. Okay, if I'm gonna fight you in Maryland, I don't have nobody to sell tickets to, you know. So I might sell 1 or 2 tickets, which might give me $50, $60. You might sell 100 and put a couple of grand in your pocket. So then, you know, the promoter won't be paying for me. So I'm really not going to get anything more than what I can sell. So it wouldn't benefit me where it would benefit you, you know? But that is one option.
Right. But in that option, it just seems like a lose-lose situation, anyway, unless you know how to use that gift of gab and just promote, promote, promote. You have social media, you have this and that. You just have to brainstorm. But now, if we had a commission, how would they help Matt? If we had a commission, how would they help the traveling fighter? Like, how would they help him if
Well,
he had no manager, he just had a lawyer, and he had no promoter, and he was out
what
there
what
just doing everything for himself?
Well, here's how I think it would help. If you had a traveling fighter, okay, if you give me a contract and I agree to it, and then I get there and you want to change things up on me, having somebody that's an oversight can say, well, look, promoter, why did you change this? Did you ask him to change this? Did you give him a 3-day notice? If you put something in there so that the fighter who doesn't have that power can at least say, look, I was given a fair treatment. Maybe it wasn't in my best interest, but it was fair at least. Because if I pay for a ticket for you to come down here right now to fight me at 175, and you get here and I say no, it's going to be at 185, and instead of me paying you 2,000, I'm paying you 1,600. What are you gonna do? You can tell me, oh hell no, I'm not taking that. Okay, I can say, how are you getting back? I'm the one flew you down here.
But that number one, that's just plain being a bully. And number two, that's I never heard of that before, where they could tell you're fighting.
Mm-hmm.
It's
No, no.
usually a pound or 2 pounds off. It's never like 6 or 7 pounds off.
Tyrone, it happens. It happens. How about 16 pounds? How about
That's
a
when
16-pound difference on the scale? And he says to me, you could leave if you want, but I'm not going to pay you.
Arturo Gotti did the same thing. He fought,
he cheated.
well,
But Arturo Gotti cheated.
Joey Camacho, right?
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
cheated. Arturo Gotti cheated. What they did was, the old trick was, you sit on the, okay, he's supposed to come in at 140. The old trick is you get on the back of the scale and you wait. And then you wait for the commission to be right there. So when the commission says the weight, he said 140, you step off the scale and you start drinking soda, which we know it's humanly impossible to gain 20 pounds in a couple of hours. That's just humanly impossible. So that's where that cheating goes on. And he really almost killed that kid that he fought that night. The kid had to go to the hospital after the fight.
Yeah. Joey.
Yeah, Joey Gamache.
Joey Camacho.
Yeah, bad. And the sad part is, it's not so much that the commission was down with it. Look at Arturo Gatti. So what do you think is his legacy? Cheating. You 20 pounds over the limit.
Yeah, but Tyrone, that's all forgotten. How many people?
I know.
You do, I do, but how many people remember that?
Yeah, well,
I do.
If you look, like, if you're a boxing aficionado, you're gonna remember those things. You're gonna remember that. Like,
right, but hold on a sec.
Okay, one time I fought in Mexicali. The guy actually wanted to put tape on the gloves, and we on live TV. I tells the referee, yo, look at the guy. He got tape on his gloves. The tape was to cut me easier. Right? Yeah. His name was Rodolfo Gomez. The referee looks at me like I'm crazy. And I'm like, are you serious? He said, oh, take the tape off. I said, yo. So my trainer, which was Teddy Atlas at the time, wanted to get in the ring and just kill the referee, because the referee was going to let it go as with the tape on the gloves. He actually put white tape on the gloves. So that was to cut me easier. That's why I don't trust any fights out of the estate. That's my thing.
Tyrone, wasn't there a national commission that stepped in and oversaw that?
I was going to ask you. I was going to say, Matt, go ahead and jump in and ask. Go ahead.
You're right about that.
There was no national commission that stepped in and oversaw that and said you can't do that? Really?
No. Matt, they was telling me, come on, because when you fight on TV, you gotta meet the schedule. So you gotta come right on precise. And I'm telling the referee has tape on his gloves.
Yeah, but you mean there's no commissioner there to watch it? There was no boxing commissioner. There was no authority. Come on, really?
Number one,
boxing.
Yo, here's the funny part. Number one, I was fighting in a bull ring.
Yeah.
I was getting dressed in a stall where the bull was at.
What?
You could actually hear the bull. I was like, yo, what's that over there? He said, oh, that's the bull.
No.
I said, yo, you serious? He said, yeah. I
said,
now,
what
are you doing there? He
said, Matt Tyrone, that story is outrageous, man. But Matt, how would a commission have helped Tyrone in that situation, like a national commission where everybody's on the same page?
Because then that wouldn't have happened that way. You can't. I had a weigh-in in a insurance salesman's office. This was his office where he does insurance sales, and in the back he's a commissioner, and there's a scale from Kmart in the back. Wait a minute, what? I said, you got to be kidding me. Yeah, he says, Matt, you want to fight? You want to get paid? Get on the scale. I got on the scale. He got on the scale, 16 pounds heavy. He said, Matt, you want to fight or you want to go home? It's your choice. I'm not making you do anything. Now, there's no national commission. So there's no set rules. Only like New York, New Jersey, California, maybe one in Nevada, maybe one or two other states that really watch the sport of boxing. Other than that, and that's when it was in the heyday. I mean, there's really no boxing now. But when it was in the heyday and it was boxing all the time, nobody watched it. Nobody connected. The guy could, listen, Bruce the Mouse Strauss. Did you ever hear that fighter's name?
Yes.
Tyrone,
heard it from you.
Yeah.
Yes,
well. Mouse Strauss was too much.
Bruce had something like 200-300 fights. He once fought at a carnival, in a professional fight, but it was at a carnival. He got knocked out. The main event didn't show up, and he got back in the ring with a black eye and fought as his twin brother and got knocked out again. You can't make this stuff up. Bruce is my hero, my idol. I can't wait to meet him one day. But he doesn't even know what his record is because it went so fast and there was hundreds of fights. But this shows you he would go from one state, get knocked out, and show up at another state the next day and get knocked out again. He didn't care about his record. He just went there for the money. Now, is it any better? I think it is. And I think the internet has made much better safety rules, and they can track the fighters from state to state and say, whoa. You just got knocked out last week. You cannot fight. You're 90 days.
Are they doing that though, Matt? Are they doing that right now? Are they tracking the fighters after every fight?
They are tracking them a lot better. They're tracking them better.
Hold on a second, Brandon.
A couple years ago. But I got to think that they are better. And I got to think I got.
Whoa.
Okay, Brandon, go ahead and step in here.
That they're watching the sport better. And because anybody in the stands could look up, hey, this guy, Billy Joe here, he just got knocked out last week. Why is he in the ring now? So, anybody could track anybody. So they got to watch what they're doing. It's gotten much better. I am assuming it's gotten much better. Back in the days, it was real bad. It was the Wild West. The Wild West. That was what it was.
Okay, Brandon, you want to say something? Go ahead and hop in here.
No, I was just gonna say it is better.
I can't hear you guys. Are you talking?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Man.
It's a lot harder to do that kind of stuff.
I can't hear.
Yeah, I had.
All right, well, log in and log back. Okay, log off and then come back in, Matt.
But
okay.
I was gonna say that I had the same thing happen with me before, where I'll take my camera off for a second. I've had guys who've gone to Mexico for fights, and I tell them, don't go to Mexico. Don't go to Mexico. I know it sounds all fun. Don't go to Mexico. And they get there and they're told, well, they get what they call a switch. Instead of you fighting this guy, you're fighting that guy.
Yep.
All right. And see, here's the thing people don't realize about BoxRec. BoxRec helped out a lot.
Yeah.
But BoxRec only tracks sanctioned bouts. You can have 30 bouts that are unsanctioned, and they will not be in your BoxRec record.
As a professional or amateur?
As a professional.
Why?
Like, I mean,
Why?
well, because BoxRec only records sanctioned bouts. Like, if you go and have 10 bouts in Mexico that are not sanctioned, you can get paid for them. They're not sanctioned. They don't go in your BoxRec. I know guys who are like 3-8 on BoxRec, and they're really like 14-19 in real life because, you know, BoxRec just records what you give them. They don't verify anything.
Well, those are
so, you know,
fights. They record sanctioned fights, right?
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to fight in Mexico in a bull stadium, you know, you're taking a chance. It's obviously not a sanctioned pro fight. It is what it is. You know, it's not a commissioned fight.
Yeah, but you know the thing is, when in the states, and we're saying the union was here, it would probably be for the states. I've seen guys who have come into the weigh-in. Right, I know right now I can't make. I'm 175. You're 165, 166. Right, I need you to be over 168. You know what they'll do now is they'll go to the restroom with a roll of quarters or two, tape them inside their trunks, come out in their boxers, give them the scale, and they put on 2 pounds. You know,
I used to remember that.
Yeah, or they'll take some quarters or dimes and put them in the crack of their behind, and there you go. They made weight. So it's something that needs to happen where there's oversight to that, because too many fighters are not given anything that's fair or anything close to equal, and that's all fighters deserve. Is at least say, look, give me the fair chance, and make sure you're being held to whatever standard, to whatever rules are there. You do that, boxing could be fine. But when you have guys not get paid, you get these situations where commissions don't even check things. Like, I'm in Texas. I can admit 10 years ago, you might not get drug tested. I mean, I've seen times where commission would not drug test. They wouldn't do what they should have done. I mean, I know personally myself, I took a scale to a hotel room where the commission was staying, the guy who was overseeing the fight was staying, and weighed in right then and there because we couldn't find a guy to make weight. No, the commission representative is the one saying the guy made weight. The other opponent wasn't there, so none of them have any idea if the guy weight was really there or not.
That's the problem with the sport. There's no unification.
That sounds like some madness to me, man. That sounds like complete madness with the quarters and the crack of them. That's crazy, man.
Well, there's all kinds of tricks.
But, you know,
tricks. All kinds of tricks to make weight and to do things you shouldn't be doing. But that's where a educated commissioner should be in place, right? And if we had unification amongst the commissions between all 50 states, that these are the rules, there's no gray area. It's black and white. The man shows up, he has both managers, his manager, your manager, and the promoter is right there. Get on the scale. You check it out as 0, it's balanced. You get on the scale, he's overweight. You got 1 hour to lose the weight, or you forfeit your purse. Okay? That's it. That's easy. That's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. It's not, because money talks, and there is no overseeing commission for the nation of the United States. There is no overseeing. Every state individuals.
Okay, look, we get to the halfway point of the show, and I put the link in the chat if anybody wants to jump up and ask these gentlemen a question, or just have a question, period, about a union and a commission and how it would benefit boxing. Major Key, jump up in here. Anybody else who wants to jump up in here that has a valid question or just has an opinion, jump up in here and ask away, man. Ask away. That's why we put these panels together, because at the end of the day, you could listen to 10 different boxing podcasts that say the same blasted thing throughout the day. But here, we're really trying to make a difference. We're a bunch of guys that have a different level of experience in the sport. Matt is a boxer, and he's been around for 30 plus years in the sport, Matt?
30 plus years in the sport.
30 plus years. Tyrone, former boxer, and you've been around for how many years in the sport, Ty?
Over 40.
Over 40. Brandon, I don't know your experience in the sport. I know you're a manager and you do some other things, but how many years have you been involved in the sport?
Since on and off since 2008. I sometimes I get frustrated with
Okay, so
boxing and I quit.
14
And when I
years.
calm down, I'll come back.
Okay, about 14 years, and I've been a fan of the sport since I was 15, but I really got involved in forming a commission in a union when I met Matt, which was a year ago. But I did box, I trained, and all that. What we're seriously trying to do is get a commission and a union
Yeah.
in boxing before the lights go out on the sport and on us as well. But that takes time, and we would like to hear your opinion, or if you have any real questions, jump. Tyrone, I love those
I
stories,
would.
man. But again, if you had a commission that night when the guy had a tape on his damn glove, what do you think would have happened if you had an actual strong commission in that fight where the guy had the tape on his glove? How would it have benefited you that night?
It's funny. To me personally, I think they would have been arrested. Forget about it. Would have been no fight. That guy was trying to do bodily harm. He don't understand that he was loading up his gloves to inflict a real punishment on me. He was going to he was going to assault me. Really, that wasn't going to not be a real fight. He was going to assault me because he was cheating. It's like putting 50-cent pieces inside your gloves or putting a rock inside your glove to hurt you. Then I remember one time I had a fight with another Mexican guy in Madison Square Garden where the guy thought my gloves was loaded. And after the Billy Collins thing, New York had that, black eye that, people in New York cheat. So the guy, his name was Wilmer Ruiz. I was defending my WBC Intercontinental Championship, and he was telling his trainer that it was impossible that I could hit that hard. So he said I had something in the gloves. So right after the fight, when I goes to shake the guy's hand, the 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 trainer grabs my hand and tries to feel to see if I got something in the gloves. So I said, "Yo, what are you doing, man?" He said, I think you hurt my fighter." So, and by the way, that's the only time I think I'm the only person to knock somebody out twice. I knocked him out, and the referee said that it was over 13 seconds. He said, well, the clock had, the round had ended. I said, but he can't be saved by the bell. So Teddy told me, forget about it, come on back. I went back out right after the next round. I knocked him out again. So when the guy felt my hand, Teddy said, what is he doing? I said, Teddy, you think I got something in my hand? So that's tainting somebody's reputation.
Was that before Billy Collins or after Billy Collins?
That was after Billy Collins.
That's why.
Yeah. So the guy, so the guy wanted to see, who rapped like. So we said, yo, listen, idiot, you had your friend in the room when we was rapping a hand, because in championship fights, one guy goes in the room to watch the guy wrap his hands. Another guy comes in the other room, that's from the other opponent, to watch me wrap my hands. He said, yo, idiot, your partner was right there watching me wrap the hands. Yeah. So Teddy said, so I said, yo, Teddy, let's just take off the glove and show him that they ain't loaded. But Teddy was upset. He was upset because now that's his reputation on the line. I said, well, I'm not cheating. Let him see it. I said, the problem is the guy couldn't
sound like a witch hunt. Tyrone, it sounded like a witch hunt. That's what it sounded like. That's what he was pissed off about.
Yeah,
probably. Like and he had a fighter that was a former world champion. Remember Gene Hatchett?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Gene Hatchett was his fighter, and he had Gene Hatchett, and he had he had another world champion too, Steven something. It'll come to me in a second, but he had another fighter, and the guy was like, hey, you got a bad reputation up here in New York. They said, guys loading up gloves. So I said, no, it's just your fighter just can't take a punch. That's just skinny on that one. And you just see a lot of other strange and crazy things in boxing, especially like when you go to another state or you go to another country. When I'm in Korea, they did everything in their power to try to make sure that I lost, which I did. They put me in a room where it was freezing cold with a Bunsen burner. It wasn't even a heater. It was some little thing looked like a Bunsen burner. I'm mad. I think they went out. Troy, you still there?
What? We lost you.
I can still hear you. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear
Yeah.
you.
Brandon, you
Okay.
still there?
Yeah, I think we're still here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, yeah. And when I got to Korea, I get off the plane, I go to the hotel. The guy that's in charge of this guy was the promoter. The first thing he's telling me, I got 2 girls for you. I said, yo, what's wrong with you, man? I'm fighting for the title. Oh, no problem. But I got something present for you. I said, I'm fighting for the title. He said, no problem. I said, yo, give them to my friends. No, not for them. No, they pay. You free. I said, yo, that's not yo. I said, yo, I'm over here trying to fight for my life, and you're gonna stick 2 girls on me?
That's a
So
setup.
that's why I tell people when people always try to say when you go to another country they treat you like, with hospitality, they pieces of shit. They lie. They all liars. They there for you to lose. They're not there for you to win. Every country I went to, I always had a problem, and it wasn't a nice problem. It was nothing. No, nothing nice about it.
We actually gonna touch on that about how a commission would help overseas. But Brandon, if we had a national commission in the union right now, how would that benefit the fighters that you deal with right now, the ones that you manage, the ones that you get fights and so forth?
I mean, the one way it would benefit is it would allow every fighter to have the same opportunity. The one thing, and I guess let me start by saying this. I don't criticize any fighter who is in the ring, who is trying to earn a living and box professionally. But I do see that there's fighters who should not have a boxing license. There's guys who are, I'll say, basically so close to throwing fights that you could say they're throwing fights. And that would help a lot of the fighters that I represent, because you have, and I'll tell you a story. There's a commission that they won't deny any fight. Any fight they will basically approve. I've seen them approve a guy that was homeless on the street, got cleaned up, gave him a
No, you
boxing
didn't.
license, and let him get in the ring as a debuter.
yo, believe it or not, they had that in New York a lot. They would go to they would go to a basketball court, look for a guy with a nice physique, and take him down. And say, hey, I'm gonna give you $1,500. I want you to go in there and fight this guy. Guy ain't got no money. He need the 1,500. Yeah, and let's go. And those are true stories.
Yeah, see, that's new to me. I never saw that. So to me, that would help.
This
because
happened in the 80s, in the early 80s.
Well, it's still happening now, because you have guys who are 2-0 who would take the fight, right? And they'll say, "Well, look, I'll take it for 1,000 or 1,200," and they'll say, "Oh, well, you know what? My guy's 1-0. Let me go to the Salvation Army. Let me go to the shelter, or like you said, a basketball court."
Yeah.
They get a guy, say, "Hey, commission, I got a guy. He's a debuter. Get him a physical and give him $500." And I'm like, "Well, wait a minute. Is it smart money? Yeah, because you saved a lot. You saved more money than you would have spent. But it's like, how is that fair to the fighter that's really trying? That's what I would like to see, because I've seen guys there's guys with 1-29 records. They will come into a city to fight, and they have nobody in their corner.
Yeah.
You will go to a gym, get a guy and say, work my corner.
Yeah.
Answer me this question real quick, fellas. How do you take someone from a basketball court, or like a homeless person, clean them up and get them in the ring? Isn't there some paperwork, or don't they check background? How do they get past all that?
No.
Depends on the state.
And then there's the drug test.
It's almost like a smoker fight where they have no doctors, no real referee. The guy that owned the gym, cousin is the ref. The people that's keeping the scorecards are friends. It's so crazy.
It's an illegal fight.
Like, we should, instead of having the commission, we should do a movie on it, just to show people what happens in boxing. Because Like, okay, real fighters will believe that. Now, back in the day, when they would go get the guy off the court, normally the guy that they going to get it for, he's not going to really get no money because he's giving that money to the guy that he know he can beat. But now it's been times where guys was going to get bums off the street and they got knocked out, and they knocked out a good guy by mistake. Just threw a punch, boom, the guy went out dead. So you got a guy that's 19-0 fighting the guy that's 0-0, and the guy 0-0 knocked the guy out. Now the promoter and the guy that's doing the matchmaking got a problem. And this is a true story. The guy that they was building up, this guy was a white guy. He was 19-0 with 17 knockouts. They was building him up to get him a title shot. They go and get a guy off the street. Real story, off the street. The guy knocks the guy out. The fight is over. They catch the matchmaker. They was gonna hurt him. They was gonna physically hurt him. They said, "Yo, you know we're trying to build this guy up. We've got a lot of money invested in this guy. Why would you go get somebody that you know that can beat him?" He said, "Yo, I got to go off the street. He can't fight." The guy comes and said, like, "Yo, for real, I can't fight. It's just that your fighter couldn't take a punch. I threw the punch, I hit him, and he went down." And you know, it's a loss because the guy that they put the money in, how you gonna get the money back off of that guy? You're not gonna get no money back off of him, because once you put him in with some real tough guy, if he let a guy off the street knock him out, what's gonna happen when you get in with a real tough guy? So
Deontay Wilder's gonna happen.
So the only way you're gonna get your money back is you put him in a real big fight where you're gonna get some of your money back, and then you're probably gonna rob him at the same time. So the purse is $75,000. The manager gonna want to take the whole 75 plus the expenses. So you'll end up with a bill because you stand in a hotel and you eating, and you'll end up with that bill, and the manager will slip away and you'll never see him again.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing about management and contracts and stuff. That's a whole nother argument that we don't have. I don't even know if you have enough time to go into how fighters are treated on those parts of it. But the smoker thing, I mean, I've seen.
Yeah.
Without giving away too much, because I don't want to snitch like that. I've seen bouts where, like, everything he just said is what it is. I've seen fights that were licensed as professional bouts and somehow end up as amateur fights on record. I have no idea how.
Hey, Brandon.
Yes.
Brandon, go ahead and tell that story. But yeah. I can hear you. But you said you don't know if you don't have enough time. But I tell you what, I'll give you 2 rounds. That's 6 minutes to tell the story you were going to tell about something about what you call them. You know, smoker fights or whatever.
Yeah, smokers.
Can you do it in 5 minutes?
I mean, I can do it in 2 minutes, because basically everything Tyrone just said is what it is.
TMI, Brandon.
The big thing about us. Okay, the thing with the smoker, I've seen, and I'll tell you another example. I've seen a guy that here in Houston probably was in his mid-40s, never fought professionally. He had fought in the 80s as an amateur, never fought professionally, right? Fought against a guy who was, I think, his second fight, young guy, probably like a 15, 16-year difference. How this, probably 40-year-old guy passed a physical, I don't know. I could not tell you. There's no way he should have been able to. There's no way that you would have saw him and said that he is in a position to be professionally fighting. They sanction it anyway. He gets in there. The fight lasts maybe 8 seconds. I mean, maybe 8 seconds. It was long enough for the bell to ring, then to walk to the middle of the ring, and for the younger fighter to throw off 5 or 6 punches, however long that takes. That was it. Referee immediately stops in and says, "Oh, you know what? We're this fight's over." Just like that. I mean, we're talking literally less than 10 seconds, probably. I've seen fights where you can tell guys are going in, and if they start to hit the guy who's supposed to win a little too much, the towel gets thrown in. My fighter's hurt. You know, in some of these commissions, unfortunately, the eyeballs that are on them are so small that they can do things like that, and it's not fair. It's not fair to the integrity of the sport. So, you know, those are some of the stories. I mean, I've seen guys literally sit there, smoke weed on a Friday night because they know they're not going to get drug tested tomorrow on Saturday after the fight. They know they're not going to get drug tested. You know, and I'm not trying to snitch, and hopefully I'm not getting myself into trouble, but it's things like that that hurts the sport.
Sure.
And I'm not trying to say I'm not saying everybody does it, but I am saying like what Tyrone is saying and what Matt is saying. There are some things that just should not be happening in boxing in this day and age that are still happening.
But here's a funny one, and I think all of y'all saw this fight. I'm trying to think of the guy's name, but he fought Lennox Lewis. They went. The guy was trying to get himself together. He was in a drug program.
Oliver McCall.
Oliver McCall. There you go. Don King wanted the money. So Don King went, signed him out the rehab, put him in the fight, and you saw him in there crying. It wasn't that he didn't want to fight Lennox Lewis. I think he would have beat Lennox Lewis anyway. I think he would have knocked Lennox Lewis out. But that was the biggest black guy in boxing. And nobody said anything about it. Nobody.
No,
they just wrote it off.
They didn't know. They didn't know the true story. They just thought he quit. They thought he quit, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's all. That was an embarrassment. That was
yeah.
But to everybody, everybody was embarrassed. It was awful.
Yeah, that was bad.
That was bad.
I mean that was real. I mean, like, and he Lennox Lewis was scared to death of him. He wouldn't even fight him. Emmanuel Stewart had to beg him, like, "Yo, man, go in there and fight the guy, man. The guy."
He was cussing at him and screaming at him. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. A whole bunch of French and MFers and yes, he was. He said, go in there and do what you need to do. Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? It's the same time when he fought Mike Tyson when he said, "Yo, what's wrong with you? You got a dead man there. Go get him." And Lennox Lewis was scared to death. I mean, he was scared to death.
Yeah. It was just, I mean, I've heard some stories about how Trevor Berbick was made to fight Mike Tyson. They basically went to his house a week or so before the fight and told him that he's fighting Tyson, and he just wasn't ready, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he was strong arm into fighting him, and the rest, as you said,
another guy that got strong arm and caught a bad break in boxing.
Now, I'm gonna ask the same question again. If we had a national commission and a union, how would that help against a power guy like Don King, a guy who had so much power?
He wouldn't have that kind of power. They would take that power away from him. He should not have. His job is a promoter. He promotes the fight. He doesn't run the show. He promotes the fight. We gave him the power.
Matt, what about in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and late 60s, early 60s, when the mob was running it, when Murder Incorporated was running it?
Tyrone,
you had to throw a fight before you got a title fight.
Tyrone, that was back then. That was with no interconnecting between people because there was no internet. You could get knocked out. You could win. You could get knocked out the next day, right?
Yeah.
That's a different animal. We don't bring that up because we can't fix it and we can't compare to it. But now we can control it. And we still are, the fighters are abused. They're still abused to this day.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, fighters are still abused. It may not be as evident, but a lot of times the abuse is just contracts that are not in the fighter's favor at all. Like, it's like, wait a minute, the contract you're signing, your career is basically over. You might not think it's over, but you will not be able to get out of this contract because there's so many twists and turns in it that it should not be upheld, but it's legally enforceable, but it should not be. And I think a national commission should be able to say, look, this contract is void. You are a free agent without having to sue for it and spend money on legal fees. because the national commission says, look, it doesn't pass the sniff test.
Mm, mm, mm. Mm, mm, mm.
You know what? I'm stuck. Hold on, y'all. I was stuck on mute for a second, but I'm glad we had the conversation this way. It opened up a lot of doors and gave a lot more information than us going back and forth about about what needs to be done and all that. I enjoy this way better. We could pass on the information, and we could tell these stories to the audience, man. Because a lot of people, including myself, I didn't know anything about Oliver McCall, that he was at a drug rehab. I just found that out tonight. I did not know anything about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I knew about the Trevor Berbick issue, but I did not know about. Now, I'm not going to say the fighter's name, but I can swear to you that he had this fighter. Let's say he fought Terry Norris. That's it. I'm not going to say who it was. He dusted him off in the first fight, right? And in the rematch, you could hear he kind of held back for some reason, and the trainer kept slapping him in the face and said, "What's wrong?" And then I think he slipped up one time in the corner and said something about his daughter. They have my daughter. They have my daughter. And then the sound went out. I'm not going to say his name or anything, but I could remember clearly hearing that. I could remember clearly hearing it. Yeah, I'm not going to say anybody's name because I could be incorrect, and I don't want to have to deal with that.
Mm.
Hey, it is a sport, but it's not an organized sport. That's the difference. There is no NFL. There's no NBA. There's no NBA. There's the fights. There's promoters. There's individuals. And when you have that and no control, anybody could take advantage of anybody else, right? That's the problem with the sport.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Ring 10 is going to fix it. We're going to get this thing fixed before I leave this earth. You have my word on that. One day I'll stand there on the podium and say the sport is now unionized. Everybody needs to join. If you don't, you're not allowed into the
Exactly.
show. You follow the rules or you walk.
Yes.
Promote, you follow the rules or you walk. We give you no fighters, no union fighters. It'll be a hard start, but it has to be done. That's it. Simple.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is simple. Getting it done is not, but the idea is simple. I think we lost them.
No. I'm still here.
I'm sorry.
I'm still here. You lost Brandon. I'm bringing it back up now.
Okay, yeah.
I'm
sorry,
doing
guys.
I'm actually doing 3 things at once, guys. So that's why you hear me go quiet sometimes.
I got you.
Okay.
Let me put this on mute. But look, gentlemen, we got 6 minutes left before the 1 hour mark. So what I'd like to do now is for everybody to just give their give where they could be reached on social media. If they have anything coming up, if you're involved in anything in boxing you want to promote or market, do that. We're gonna start off with Tyrone. If you have anything going off, you have a social media, you want the people to reach out to you, and then Brandon, and then Matt, and then I'll close it out. Go ahead.
Well, you could always catch me through Ring 10. We're gonna be doing a lot of good things. We got our big 10th anniversary will be coming up in May 22nd. So we need some big name fighters. So if anybody out there, especially the guy from Brandon, the guy from Texas, if you got anybody out there that's willing to come on their own dime, we could surely use them if they're big name fighters. We could definitely use them. Anybody that you know in the sport, even if they're in another sport, you know what I'm saying? We'd appreciate if they come May 22nd. That's going to be our big thing.
Where in May, Tyrone?
Terrace on the Park.
Yeah, Terrace on the Park. It's in Queens. A beautiful place.
Okay. I'll tell you what, do you have a poster and all that made up that I could put out or anything yet?
I'll get you one. We haven't really put it out there yet, but I'll get you one, Troy. I will.
All right. Tyrone, step up in here and tell them about your whereabouts and where you could be found, what you have coming up next, and just go ahead, brother.
Well. I'm not really doing nothing right now, but you could catch, like I say, you could always catch me through Ring 10 if you want to, find me. I'm always available through Ring 10. If you need me for any other thing, if I can be there for you, I'll definitely be there for you. But right now, I'm just, with this pandemic thing going on, it's like it really like froze a lot of things that we do in boxing.
And I gotta apologize to you, Ty, because you gave your information already. I actually meant that for Brandon. So Brandon, go ahead and step up in here, man, and give your information, social media, what you're doing, fights coming up or anything.
If you just type in my name, you'll find me on Facebook and Twitter. I'm the only one. Easy to remember. It's just my name. I don't know right now. I got things I got fights that are scheduled, but COVID has canceled so many things, and boxing stupidity. Let me not say politics. Boxing stupidity has made it hard for me to want to confirm anything because you get a fight scheduled, and then something happens and it's not scheduled. So anything I do have that's going to be confirmed, I'll definitely have it on my social media accounts, and I'll be definitely sending out press releases or something on it. But but Tyrone, back to your thing. Troy has my information. If you get your information to Troy and Troy can get it to me, I will definitely see what I can do for May.
Thank you.
I know a few people here, so the earlier I can get it to them, the easier it'll be. So I definitely will try to help out where I can.
Thank you.
Okay, now Matt, go ahead and close this out, man. You're the one who sparked Ring 10, and you're gonna close this out.
Well, Ring 10 right now we're scheduled for. No, we canceled May. We got a date. If you look on ring10.org, very simple, ring10.org. You could follow us. You could become a lifetime member with one small fee. You're a lifetime member. You get discounts to our events. Every single dime that comes into that organization goes to helping a fighter. Whereas there is no overhead fees, there's no expenses, and 10% goes to helping a fighter. No, 100% of every dime that comes in goes into helping a fighter get back on his feet. Tyrell Biggs was a big name fighter. He was evicted. They closed his house. They shut down his home, and they threw him out. We got him into a place that he could stay now permanently, and he's well taken care of. That's what we do. So if you go to ring10.org, anything you invest is a legal 501c3, and every single dime is going to get its way into helping a fighter.
I want you to say that again about the money. You said every single dime?
Every single dime that comes in goes to helping a fighter. There's no overhead. There's no expenses. There's nothing like that. So every dime of your donation is going to go into a fighter to get him back on his feet. And that's paying his rent or helping him with his rent, helping him with some bills. We had a guy, they turned his electricity off because he couldn't pay it. He couldn't barely make his rent. And he was living in an apartment, a dump, with no electricity. Right away. That's unacceptable. Give me your number. Give me your electrical number. That's not the right. Your customer number. Give me the organization. I called him up. I paid 3 months in advance. I paid what his bill was and 3 months in advance. I said I want the guy today to get over there and turn it on right now. Get him over there today, or I'm not going to pay it. They did it, and they did it. That's what we do.
That's a blessing, man. That's definitely a blessing because as fans, a lot of times we see these women and we see these men in the ring as more than what they really are, just very talented human beings. We see them as something else. We don't know that they have regular ass problems like everybody else, right?
Right.
And they go through very hard times just like everybody else. But in the ring, you don't see that. You see a superstar. You see a superhero. You see somebody that you believe is tougher than steel. But it's really not that way. They are humans. They're flesh and bone.
But Troy,
and they go through it just like we do.
But Troy, they're professional. Don't they all make millions of dollars? They're professional, don't they?
I don't know if you're breaking up or I'm breaking up, Matt, because I can't hear you.
Oh,
is it you that's breaking up or me?
Troy, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Troy? No?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it sounds distorted a little bit.
I was going to say, Troy, don't they all make millions of dollars? All professional fighters, they all make millions of dollars for no matter what they fight, correct?
Absolutely not. Absolutely
What?
not. No. That is the biggest misnomer in boxing. No.
The biggest misnomer. That is correct. And that's what people don't understand, because they see this guy, Jake Paul, this lunatic, making millions of dollars, or maybe a champion of the world who fought for 20 years to get there, making a lot of money. So they assume everybody's making a lot of money. And that is not true at all. Not even close.
You know what? I like to say this. The reason why there's even a Jake Paul that exists is because of the state that boxing's in right now.
Yeah, I agree.
If boxing would just put on the fights that people want to see, there'll be no need for a sideshow Bob like Jake Paul. And if you're listening, or any of his people are listening, I have a 19-year-old son. His name is Malcolm X. He'd whoop you and your brother. Now, I'm not saying at the same time, but we'll do two different fights. He's 6'6". He's about 210 right now. I trained him myself. He was also trained by Marvin McDowell. He'd whoop the both of you. But of course, he won't take that fight because he's a real fighter. So, that's all right. That's all right. Gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time. And I appreciate how we did it today, man. We didn't go back and forth about what can't be done. We told some great stories, and we passed out some information, because, wow, some of the stuff y'all said about picking up people on the basketball court, the homeless people, that's an extreme. That's an extreme I did not know about. I've been loving this sport since I was 15. And I've been around champions and Hall of Famers and everything, but I've never heard that seedy side of it. I guess they kept me away from it for whatever reason. But man,
there's a dark side that people don't know about. A dark side.
Yeah, and then you have the worst luck of all, where you pick a dude up off the street and he knocks out your fighter just on blind luck.
Yeah.
And you lose your life, or you could lose your life, right, Ty?
Yeah.
Is Ty still there?
Yo, the guy.
Okay.
No playing around. They was gonna hurt the matchmaker. I'm not gonna say the guy's name, but they was gonna hurt him. And it was so happened. My manager was there and said, "Yo, the guy really couldn't fight, man. He's not lying to you." And these guys didn't want to hear that. They invested a lot of money in this guy.
Yeah, like I said, there's some nightmare stories, man, that they'll make you. There's some stories that you would just be like, "There's no way this happened."
Yeah,
and it's all too common. Like I thought the whole homeless thing was like a once in a lifetime thing, but Tyrone's like, "Oh no, that's all in New York in the '80s."
Yeah,
like, okay,
that was normal. They had an expression, like they would say, "Well, go to the graveyard and get me a body."
Yeah.
And if you got a heartbeat, send him back. Go behind the grave. I mean, this was like that was an everyday occurrence. So it's just like what Brandon said. You see some guys get knocked out in 4 seconds, 8 seconds.
And that's where the term bums come from in the ring, when people say he's a bum.
He's a bum.
Yeah,
he's a bum, and it hurts the bum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are guys that are bums. I mean, I've seen guys that you can tell they don't know what they're doing. All their punches are going they're not throwing any punches to the head. All their punches are to the shoulders, the arms. They're not really trying to win the fight. And then somehow that miraculous body shot, and they're just done, and that's it. And they get up, get their paycheck, and leave. I've seen it happen before.
All right, well, gentlemen, let me go ahead and close out. Let me thank the chat first before I close out. Let me thank Boxing Lounge. It's a very loyal brother. He shows up. J Blues Radio, thank you. Major Key, thank you. Thomas Jones, thank you. I'm missing somebody. I'm Lisa Bales, thank you. And there's somebody else I'm missing in here. You know what? Who else am I missing? Just everybody, lottie-dottie, everybody. Tyrone Jackson, Brandon, is it County?
There you
and
go,
Matt,
County.
Matt Parago.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time. Thank you for your stories and your knowledge. We shall do this again the first Wednesday in February. February. If I don't have any,
February.
I don't think I booked anybody on that Wednesday. But the first Wednesday in February, I'll see you gentlemen again. Hopefully we can keep the same lineup. There's going to be a couple of extra people in here. Matter of fact, it was supposed to be someone else in here. Two other people, but they didn't show up for whatever reason. One's in a meeting and one's probably in the gym training. So,
Okay.
bless up to them. Thunder Robinson. And then it was another brother who I sent it out to. But we shall see. We shall see, man. But thank you all for coming. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. And Matt, I need that information that Tyrone was talking about, and I'll go ahead and post it all over the place. All right?
Sounds good. Okay, man.
Okay.
Thanks, Troy.
Got you.
All right.
All right, man. Thank you. Gotta do my outro right quick here. What is the one main thing that you